So hello students, welcome. So I was teaching nutrition and plants science class 7. Now till now we have discussed what are photosynthesis and how they obtain photosynthesis to prepare their food. So we have also learned that plants need carbohydrates, proteins and all these things that we need to grow. Okay. So we have already discussed how they obtain carbohydrate. Now thing is that do plants need nitrogen? Yes, plants also need nitrogen, but how they will get? Now, how we obtain nitrogen? We obtain nitrogen by taking meat, fish, eggs, and all these things. But do you think plant can take? No, plants cannot take because they do not have mouth. So simple. So from where they will get nitrogen? So it is a big thing. It is a big question. Then from where they will get nitrogen? Now you see, plants take nitrogen from the soil. Okay, so do nitrogen exist in soil? No, nitrogen do not exist in soil. So where do nitrogen exist? So nitrogen exists in air. You see, if you see the composition of air, then we will know that 70% of the air is only nitrogen. Okay, so 19% is oxygen, which we need, and 70% is nitrogen. Okay, now 70% nitrogen are present in the air, but plants cannot take directly this nitrogen. Okay, so how they will get nitrogen? Now in this process, one bacteria known as rhizobium, this bacteria help the plants to obtain nitrogen. Now where we will get this bacteria? These bacteria are present in the roots, in the nodules, inside the root. Nodule means what? You see? See, there are roots of plants. Now here some nodes like structure they will form like this, and in this nodes like structure this bacteria will be present, and they help to obtain nitrogen from air to make it a substance that are water soluble. Plants can only take those which are water soluble nitrogenous substance. So this bacteria convert the nitrogen that are present in the air to water soluble nitrogenous substance, and in this way the plants take the nitrogenous substance through their roots with the help of, you know already that they have two tubes, xylem and phloem. So xylem help in taking nitrogenous substance. Okay, so these bacteria are very helpful to plants. But do you think these bacteria are present in all plants? No, they are present only in few plants. Like they are present in peas plant, then gram, and some plants like beans. They are present in only these kinds of plants. Then what will happen to other plants? Okay, how they will obtain nutrients? These plants will get nitrogen because bacteria are present in the roots of these plants. But what will happen to other plants? How they will obtain nutrients? So in this case, the farmers who produce crops, they know these things very well, that nitrogen is present in the roots of these plants only. So they do one trick, and that trick is known as rotation of crops. Now what happens? During cultivation of paddy, they first cultivate these kinds of plants in the paddy field, and after harvesting these plants, they grows paddy like rice, okay, and other kinds of crops which are low in nitrogenous content. Okay, so first they grow these plants, and after that they grow different kinds of other plants. Okay, so in this way, when they first grow these plants, the soil replenished with nitrogenous substance, and the soil will become rich in nitrogen, and later on they will use this process, rotation of crops. After harvesting these plants, they will grow other plants like wheat, rice and all. Okay, so this bacteria is very helpful in the process. Okay, besides doing this crops rotation, they use fertilizers and manures also. Now what is difference between fertilizer and manure? You see, manure we get from plants and the fertilizer are prepared by humans artificially. Okay, so what is the difference between manure and fertilizers? You see, manure help the soil to become loose and maintain the fertility, and the fertilizers like urea, phosphorus, all this, they are used to artificially produce nitrogen in the soil. They produce nitrogen in the soil, and these plants takes nitrogen from the soil. Okay, but that must be given in limited amount only. Okay, so in this way the farmer grow good crops. Okay, so apart from crop rotation, they also use fertilizers and manure. Okay, so hello students, we are discussing about plants. Now we will further divide the plants in two parts: plants which can make their own food, and the next part, plants that depends on other plants for their food. So they cannot make 100% out of their own, and these plants make their own apart from creating nitrogen through rhizobium bacteria. Now you see, we have already discussed this part, and now our topic is this: those plants which depend on other. Now which plants depends on other? So we can divide into three parts: parasitic plants, saprophytic plants and carnivorous plants. Okay, now you see, parasitic plants, it can be further divided into total parasites and partial parasites. Now what is total parasites? Those plants which 100% depend on the other plants are known as total parasites. Okay, now the plants on which they depends are known as host, and they consume nutrients from them, and they slowly they damage the plants. Okay, now example of these plants are Cuscuta. You might have seen some yellow kinds of these kinds of yellow type of climbers on the trees, and once you put a small piece, then it will grow and it will overtake whole plants. So this is Cuscuta, and these plants slowly damages the other plants on which they are living, and those plants on which they are living are known as host. Next is parasitic plants. Now parasitic plants are not totally 100% dependent on the other plants. They partially depends on the other plants. Okay, and you might have seen one big tree, and upon a big tree there one growing a small tree. These kinds of tree are known as partial parasites. They will be small in size, but they are obtaining nutrients from the big tree. One example is mistletoe. Okay, these are known as partial parasite. You may see in your book, it is very nicely given. Now next plants is saprophytic plants. Okay, saprophytic plants are those which are fungus. Now what are fungus? You might have seen that when you keep bread in some moist area, means some watery place, when you keep bread for 1 to 2 days, you will see green color of a greeny color will be developing on the bread, and this is due to presence of fungus. Okay, now you see example of fungus are mushroom also. Mushroom is also a kind of fungus, and they are saprophytic plants. Now what is specialty of these plants? These plants do not contain chlorophyll, so they cannot make their own food. So what do? They grow on dead and decaying plants. They grow on dead and decaying plants, and they obtain nutrients from those plants. Okay, now they become host on these plants, and they drop some of chemicals, and in this way they obtain nutrients from those dead and decaying plants. So you see, you might be seen that mushroom are nearly white in color. So they are not green, so they cannot make their own food. That means they do not have chlorophyll. Those plants which are green are containing chlorophyll. Okay, so these are fungus. They depends on dead and decaying plants. Next you see carnivorous plants. See, it is not possible for all plants to obtain nutrients in some places where they will not get all kinds of rich nutrients. So some plants which grow in different conditions, they cannot obtain nutrients like proteins. So they depends on directly on some animals. Okay, so for their food. So here are some examples: Venus flytrap and pitcher plants. These plants directly trap some of the flies or insect, and they obtain nutrients through those insects. So these are carnivorous plants. So hence we have completed our topic nutrition in plants. In the next video we will be covering the next lesson. So if you like, then please subscribe my channel and press the bell icon so you will get the notification. Okay, thank you.